Declined. The machine beeped again, louder this time, and the cashier didn't even try to hide it. "Ma'am, it says 0. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates." I was standing at the grocery checkout, hands frozen around my purse, a line of strangers pressing in behind me, all of them watching me. Virelda Morn, 68. Someone who had never missed a payment in her life. That's not possible, I said, but my voice didn't sound like mine. The screen flashed $0 again. A man behind me sighed. Someone whispered, "She can't pay." Then my son, Caldrin, stepped closer, too calm, too ready, and rested his hand on my shoulder. "Try again," he said almost gently, but the cashier hesitated this time, and instead of handing the card back, she looked at him. The cashier's fingers hovered over the keypad, but her eyes stayed on him, not me. "Do you want to try a different method?" she asked carefully, like she wasn't sure who she was supposed to be talking to. Caldrin gave a small, reassuring smile, one I'd seen 1,000 times, the kind he used when fixing things I didn't understand. "It's fine," he said, already reaching into his wallet. "She's been having a little trouble lately." Lately? I turned to him, something tightening in my chest. What does that mean? But he didn't answer me. He slid his card forward, smooth, practiced. The machine accepted it immediately. Approved. Of course it did. Behind us, the tension dissolved into quiet impatience. The whispers stopped. The moment was over for them, not for me. I gathered the bags slowly, my fingers numb, trying to replay every detail in my mind. I checked this account 3 days ago, sat at my kitchen table, pen in hand, numbers lined up perfectly. I don't forget things like that. I don't. Outside, the air felt colder than it should have. The parking lot stretched too wide, too empty. "Mom," Caldrin said, unlocking the car. "You've been mixing things up. It happens." "No," I said, sharper than I meant to. "No, it doesn't just happen." He paused, studying me, not concerned, not surprised, just measuring. "Let's just get home," he said quietly. That night I sat alone at my kitchen table, the same one where everything had made sense just days ago. I opened my ledger, flipping through pages filled with my handwriting, careful, consistent, precise. Then I saw it, a withdrawal entry, large, recent, written in my script, but I didn't remember writing it. I leaned closer, my breath catching as a small chilling detail settled in. The ink was slightly different, and as I stared at it, one thought pressed in, louder than the beeping machine, louder than the whispers. If I didn't write this, then who did? If the money was gone, it didn't disappear on its own. I didn't sleep much that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that screen again, $0, like it had burned itself into me. By morning I was already dressed, ledger tucked under my arm, ready to go to the bank. But Caldrin was waiting in the kitchen. "You're up early," he said, sipping his coffee like nothing had happened. "I'm going to the bank," I replied, keeping my voice steady. He didn't argue. That surprised me more than anything. "Good," he said. "I already checked your account this morning." I stopped. "You did?" He nodded. "There's nothing there, Mom. It's all gone." The way he said it, flat, certain, made my stomach turn. "That's not possible." "That's what I'm trying to tell you." He set his mug down. "You've been moving money around and you don't remember." "No," I said immediately. I haven't. He held my gaze for a second too long. You forgot your doctor's appointment last week. I rescheduled it. You didn't tell me that. I don't have to tell you everything. I snapped, the words coming out before I could soften them. A flicker crossed his face, gone just as quickly. Let's just go together, he said. The bank smelled the same as it always had. Clean, quiet, controlled, familiar. That helped. A little. We sat across from a young teller named Maris. She typed quickly, her eyes scanning the screen. Okay, I do see several withdrawals, she said carefully. Withdrawals? I leaned forward. That's not right. She turned the monitor slightly. Dates, amounts, all there. Large sums, too large. I didn't make these, I said. Cauldron shifted beside me. Mom. I didn't, I repeated, louder this time. Maris glanced between us. All transactions appear authorized. They were verified through your online account. I barely use that, I said. Cauldron exhaled softly, like this was exhausting for him. I helped you set it up, remember? I remember that, I said. I don't remember this. Maris clicked again. Security questions were answered correctly each time. My throat tightened. Those answers weren't just mine. They were things family knew. Before I could respond, Cauldron leaned forward slightly. She's been under some stress lately. I turned to him. Stop saying that. But the damage was already there. The shift in the room, the way Maris's expression softened, not toward me but around me, like I needed handling. We left with printouts I didn't trust and answers that didn't make sense. Back home, I spread everything across the table again, my ledger, the bank statements, every line side by side. At first it looked consistent, too consistent. Then I saw it. The handwriting matched mine, but not perfectly. The spacing was tighter, the pressure uneven, and the ink, again, that subtle difference. My chest tightened as a realization crept in, slow and cold. Someone hadn't just taken the money. Someone had tried to make it look like I did. I stared at the page, then at the doorway, where I could hear Cauldron moving around the house, and for the first time a thought I didn't want to have settled in. What if this wasn't a mistake, but something done on purpose? Mom, his voice called from the other room. Did you find anything? If someone was pretending to be me, they knew me well enough to get away with it. I didn't answer him right away. Instead, I closed the ledger slowly, pressing my palm against the page like I could hold the truth in place before it slipped away again. Numbers, I called back. A pause. Then his footsteps moved away. The next morning, I left the house before he woke up. The bank felt different this time, not familiar, not steady. I asked for detailed access logs. Something more than printed statements. The man who helped me, older, quieter, didn't interrupt me the way the others had. After a few minutes he turned the screen toward me. These transactions were completed online, he said. Same device signature each time. Device, I asked. He nodded. Consistent IP usage, same login pattern, and all security questions were answered correctly. My mouth went dry. Could someone else have done that? He hesitated. Only someone with full access to your credentials, or someone who knows you very well. On the way home, I stopped at the pharmacy to pick up my prescription. I handed over my insurance card. The pharmacist scanned it once, then again. I'm sorry, she said, lowering her voice. This is showing inactive. inactive. My chest tightened. That can't be right. I can rerun it. It's fine. Caldrin's voice. I hadn't even heard him walk in. He stepped beside me, already pulling out his wallet. I'll cover it. You didn't need to come, I said, my voice low. I was nearby, he replied, too quickly. The pharmacist handed him the receipt instead of me. Again, that evening, the house felt smaller. Every sound carried, every movement echoed. I was passing by the hallway when I heard his voice, low, controlled, not meant for me. We should move forward soon, he said. She's already showing signs. I stopped. A pause on the other end. Yes, he continued. Evaluation, then paperwork. The sooner the better. My stomach dropped. Evaluation, paperwork. I stepped back before the floor could creak beneath me. Later, after he went out, I checked the mail. There was an envelope addressed to him, but sent here. I shouldn't have opened it. I did. A law firm's letterhead, clean, formal, guardianship consultation. The words blurred for a second before sharpening again. This wasn't about helping me. This wasn't about confusion. This was a process, a plan. When he came home, he didn't mention the call, didn't mention the letter. Instead, he stood in the doorway of the living room, watching me like he was waiting for something. Mom, he said finally, calm and composed, we need to talk about your future. And the way he said it didn't sound like a suggestion. It sounded like something that had already been decided. This wasn't a conversation. It was a script he'd already memorized. Caldrin sat across from me at the kitchen table, hands folded, posture relaxed. Too relaxed. I've been thinking about what's best for you, he said, voice even. Just until things stabilize. Things, I asked. Your memory, the finances, the confusion at the store. He let the sentence trail off, like he didn't need to finish it. I watched him carefully now, not as my son, but as someone explaining a plan. I've looked into assisted living options, he continued. Nothing permanent, just somewhere safe, structured. And my money? I asked. I'd manage it, temporarily, he said. Make sure everything's protected. Protected from me. I nodded slowly as if considering it. When did you start thinking about this? A while ago, he said, after things started slipping. That's strange, I replied, because I don't remember anything slipping. A flicker, barely there, but I caught it. He leaned forward slightly. That's exactly the point, Mom. I reached beside me and pulled out a folder. Not everything, just enough. Bank statements, my ledger, notes I'd written late into the night. I've been looking too, I said, placing them between us. His eyes dropped to the papers, scanning quickly, still calm but quieter now. The handwriting matches mine, I continued, but not perfectly. The ink's different, the pressure's off. I tapped the page lightly. Someone tried very hard to make it look like me. That's a serious accusation, he said, sitting back. I haven't accused anyone, I replied. Not yet. Silence stretched between us. I slid another paper forward. The bank told me the transactions were done online, same device every time. He didn't respond. Security questions answered correctly, I added. Questions only family would know. His jaw tightened, just slightly. I leaned back, folding my hands now, mirroring him. Tell me something, Caldrin. He looked up. When my card was declined at the store, I paused, letting the memory settle between us. Why weren't you surprised? I was, he said quickly. No, I said, shaking my head. You weren't. I held his gaze. You told me to try again, I continued. Not check the account. Not call the bank. Just try again. A beat of silence. You knew what it would say, I said quietly. His expression didn't change, but something behind it did. Something calculating. You knew it would show 0, I finished. The room went still. For the first time he didn't interrupt, didn't correct me, didn't soften the moment. I leaned forward slightly, my voice steady. You brought me there, knowing exactly what would happen, didn't you? For a moment, neither of us moved. Caldrin didn't deny it. That was the first answer. It came in the silence, long, stretched, deliberate. His eyes dropped to the papers again, not scanning this time, just settling. Then he exhaled. You weren't supposed to figure it out like this, he said quietly. Not if, not what, just how. Once he started talking, it came out in pieces, controlled at first, then less so. The withdrawals began weeks ago, shortly after he helped me simplify my online banking. He had access, full access, password resets, security questions, everything routed through details he already knew. He spaced the transactions carefully, not enough to trigger immediate alarms, but enough to drain the accounts steadily. The ledger entries, he wrote them, and slowly, patiently, sitting at this very table when I wasn't around, copying my handwriting line by line until it looked natural at a glance. And the store, I asked. He hesitated, then. I needed something visible, something public. He had checked the balance before we left that day, knew it was empty, knew exactly what would happen when I inserted that card. I needed a moment people could point to later, he said. Something that made it look like you didn't understand what was happening. A record, a pattern, evidence, not of theft, but of me failing. I sat there listening, feeling something colder than anger settle in, not shock, not even disbelief, recognition. Every small comment, every correction, every time he stepped in just a little too quickly, it all rearranged itself into something clear. You didn't just take the money, I said. He didn't respond. You made me doubt myself. That landed. He looked up then, and for the first time there was no calm left in his expression. Just something exposed, something unfinished. What he didn't know, what he hadn't accounted for, was that I hadn't come into this conversation unprepared. I went back to the bank yesterday, I said. His attention snapped back to me. I filed a report, fraud investigation, gave them everything, device logs, timelines, copies of these. I tapped the papers between us. The colour drained from his face, slowly this time. They're already tracing the transactions, I continued, and I spoke to a lawyer. He started but stopped. The guardianship consultation letter, I added. I read it. That was the second answer. This time, it came in the way his shoulders dropped. The process moved quickly after that. The bank froze what remained and flagged the accounts. Investigators confirmed the access points, his devices, his patterns, his timing. The legal consultation he started unravelled just as fast. Without evidence of my incapacity, it collapsed under scrutiny, and when the fraud findings came through, so did the charges. Socially, the shift was just as sharp. Family members who had been distant suddenly had questions, not for me, for him. Explanations he couldn't smooth over, gaps he couldn't fill. The quiet confidence he carried into rooms disappeared, replaced by something strained, watched. A few weeks later, I went back to the same store. Same layout. Same fluorescent lights. Same line forming behind me. I placed my items on the counter. Steady, deliberate. The cashier, different this time, rang everything up without looking twice. I inserted my card. For a second the machine paused, then approved. No whispers, no sighs, no eyes turning toward me, just a receipt printing, clean and ordinary. I took it, folded it once, and placed it in my purse. As I walked out, the doors slid open the same way they always had. Nothing dramatic, nothing loud, just quiet, controlled certainty. This time there was no confusion, no doubt, and no one left standing behind me, waiting for me to fail.